We are previewing UFC 158 here at SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. I am joined today by returning guest Nick Kalikas sitting next to me, MMA oddsmaker, professional MMA oddsmaker, and consultant for numerous sports books. And on the phone, we are joined by Miguel Iturrate, old-time UFC analyst, and Miguel and Nick are both from MMAoddsbreaker.com. All right, boys, now we're going to talk about Nate Marquardt and Jake Ellenberger. This one I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit. Marquardt is plus 145, and I think he has great tools. He's a bit of a head case, but I think if he can get his head on straight for this one, I think he has some value at plus 145. Miguel, do you agree with that or disagree?
I agree. I think Marquardt is a very experienced fighter. He's been in high-level matches for a long time, so I think he's going to adjust well to coming back to the UFC and getting into the main event fights. I don't think any of that's a problem. I think it also helps him extend and win long fights, which is Ellenberger's, Achilles heel. So it's the kind of thing where I think if he can get by round one against Ellenberger, he should be able to get this fight in the books.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing against Ellenberger, my opinion here. He's a strong wrestler. He hits like a truck, right? But I just think the line is a little bit too high. Nick, where'd you open this line?
Yeah, I opened at 160, actually. So the public is coming in a little bit more. And it was another tricky line to open, honestly. Yeah. But they are coming in a little bit more on Ellenberger. And this is another fight. It's really similar to the fight we just covered before that. To me, at least it is. Because there's no clear-cut, I think, favorite in this fight to, I mean, as far as the betting public, obviously, Ellenberger is. So, but what I wound up saying, I think it's another one of those situations, again, almost three in a row, that it's either past the favorite or dog here as well. I think they do match up well. The wrestling's going to probably neutralize each other out, and you're going to see this fight take place on the feet. On the feet, I think the better overall strikers, Nate Marquardt, but obviously the more dangerous striker is going to be Ellenberger in this fight as well. He's got that knockout power. And again, before his little slide there to his defeat to Martin Kampmann, I mean, he was in line for that title shot. So the winner of this fight takes a big step forward and probably gets himself, a fight or two from the title here. And they're both, again, they match up well. They're both very well-rounded, very talented. I think that you almost have to side with the underdog here. But what my concern is, though, Marquardt did get beat up pretty bad in that fight against Safadine. It was a competitive fight, though. I mean, I'm not saying he got dominated, but as the fight wore on, he did take a beating. I mean, his leg, there was pictures out there people have checked out. So there hasn't been that much time in between fights here. So I'm wondering, he did step up and take this kind of on short notice. What kind of condition Marquardt's going to come in? I mean, after you come through a title fight in Strikeforce in a drooling war like it was, you don't really want to jump right back into the gym right away. You want to recover.
Tough guy like Ellenberger. Hey, Miguel, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think that time between beatings is a significant handicapping factor in this fight?
It all balances out. It depends where Marquardt's head is. He better have his head on straight for the fight in terms of. Bottom line is he's fighting for his UFC life. He's coming from Strikeforce, and he is coming off a loss, as they're saying. So they really actually almost had practically no reason to even bring him over to UFC other than as a filler for fights. And, if he doesn't win, he's gone. Yeah. And he's got to realize that, So if the leg hurts, suck it up. And I don't mean to sound like a tough guy myself or anything like that, but he's got to think of it that way. And with 40 fights under his belt, having fought in Pancrase and the background he has, I'm sure Nate's fought hurt before, and that alleviates some of that comes up. If it had been his first ass whooping, then maybe it would have a psychological effect. But I think Nate's a veteran.
So it sounds like you're agreeing with me. You're leaning a little bit towards Nate at this line, plus 145.
Yeah, Ellenberger. If they were 5-minute fights, you might be looking at the UFC champion. They just did one round because the kid's explosive. And there's just been a drop-off. And until I see different, he's gotten into the pattern where we know what he's going to do. He's going to gas. And, he's going to tire, and his opponent can catch him like it's happened. And it's happened to him throughout his career. Now it's time for me to see some improvement. If he wants to be named with the St. Pierre's and the guys in this echelon of fighters, then he's got to show me that that's a problem of the past. And until I see that it's a problem of the past, I'm going to hold it against him.
Yeah, well, he did. Now, we got to give him credit, though. Ellenberger, I mean, I agree with Miguel as far as cardio go. That's been one of my biggest concerns with him his whole career, especially in the UFC. because he does have that cardio weakness, it seems like.
Sure.
But in his last fight against Jay Haran, I mean, he did seem to address that. I mean, he went 3 strong rounds, kept the fight on the feet, and he did pretty well. It was a competitive matchup, I mean, definitely. And he does slow down a little bit, but I think that he is working on the cardio. Jake Ellenberger is a very intelligent fighter as well. So he knows, I think, what he has to work on, and he knows his cardio was probably one of his biggest weaknesses. So he did address that a little bit. Now, inconsistency is one thing, though. So if he's going to show up and his cardio is going to be good, he's probably going to win this fight. But again, that question is, if he fades a little bit, and Marquardt is the better cardio guy. No question Marquardt has the edge cardio-wise here, even with, I think, like I said, the uncertainty of his condition right now. He's still going to have the cardio edge over Ellenberger. So I think that that's the question here. Ellenberger should win this fight if his cardio shows up, but I think we're getting a little bit off here as far as saying, oh, his cardio sucks every time, he only lasts 1 round, because he did prove us wrong last time, and I was kind of expecting a similar thing last time as well.
Sure, but as this big of a favorite, that's a pretty big question mark to have hanging over him, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I won't lay the juice on this fight. I think it's another situation where you kind of bet the dog or pass, because if it does go to decision, it's going to be competitive, it's going to be close, and you probably want to be on the dog money instead.
Yep, okay, I agree.